Hello and welcome to Hackathon Labs. I'm Mr. Hackathon and I show you how to build digital solutions. In this video, I am going to show you how to get data from any data source and return it into your Chipp conversation. The particular use case we're going to use is that we're a community manager and we're going to use our community event assistant to generate ideas for community events. Then we're going to send the idea we like to Zapier. Zapier is going to enhance it and add it to Google Sheets. And then we are going to test whether we can retrieve that information from Google Sheets into our conversation using Chipp. The first thing we want to do is to work on our prompt. So we have a name, we have a description, we've given it a logo despite adding the image right at the bottom. But we need to give it a prompt. So we selected GPT 4.1 and we need to do a prompt. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to use the prompt generator to create a prompt. We described to Chipp what we want our application to do and we're going to hit generate prompt. The next thing we want to do is set up Zapier. Here I have the catch-up, which is the first action in the Zap. This allows us to send information from Chipp to Zapier and Zapier can receive it. Okay. When we click on this, we already have mine set up. We can see I'm using the catch-up trigger event. And then I go ahead and test it. You can see it's already come through for me when I hit test. What I do before hitting test is I go ahead and click copy, head over to Chipp, and we still have it open, but I am going to create a custom action. I go ahead and hit add custom action. We can see we have our title, we have our description of what this action is. We go ahead and paste the URL from Zapier right here. The method we're using is post. We don't need a path or query parameter. And we can see we have body parameters here. So we have a title that we let AI generate the title. We let AI generate the description from the conversation. And we have given it some examples. Then we hit run test. And we can hit add action. Now we can send information from Chipp to Zapier. And it's going to get the information from Chipp. The next thing we want to do is add the Google Sheets. So we click the plus sign to add a step and we add Google Sheets. You connect your Google Drive. I've created a very simple Google Sheets here to store the community events. I find the spreadsheet, I find the worksheet, and then I map the values. So you can see here, I'm mapping title to title, I'm mapping description to description. I have actually deleted fields, so I can just refresh and you can see here, I just have title and description. And go ahead and hit continue. So what will happen now is, and we can actually do this in real time, I am going to tell it to add this event and it's saying it's being added. So when I go to Zap and I hit test run and I refresh, we can see request C. Now I hit test run again and this has been added to the spreadsheet. So we can see here that we have our title and description for that event in the spreadsheet. What we want to do next is to create a way to be able to retrieve this information from the chat. So if I say to the assistant, what events are in our database about AI, it has no reference of what's actually in the database. Via Zapier, it can add information to the database, but it can't read information from the database. So now we're going to give it the ability to read information from the database. With Google Sheets specifically, we're going to use Sheetie to do this. Just because it's one of the easiest ways. I've demonstrated this many times before and I think it's super easy for you to pick up. So I'll go ahead and get this URL. I go to sheetie.co. I'm already logged in with my Google account. So I go to dashboard, new project, and I paste my URL. And all I have to do is hit create project. And now we have this URL to be able to get information from our spreadsheet. There are many other ways to do this, but this is one of the easiest, I think, for you to get started. We're going to go back to Chipp, but this time we are going to go to our add knowledge source or add source. And what we want to do is API route, and we're going to paste it right there, here. And you can see it retrieves the information. Perfect, that's just what we want. I'm going to click add API source. Once the API route has been added, you will see something like this right here with the source right here. And what we can do now is bring information from our database back into our Chipp conversation. I'm going to ask the question, what events are currently in my database? We can see here in the builder that it is using the right tool to be able to get our events, and it has correctly listed the events in our database. Although there'll be slight adaptations if you're using Airtable, or if you're using Notion, or if you're using another type of data storage or database, the overall premise would be the same. It's important not to forget to publish your Zap. Because we're using webhooks by Zapier, and that is a premium feature, we would have to have a premium account to be able to publish this and for it to work automatically without keep clicking test run. That concludes this video on how to return data from any data source back into your Chipp conversation. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on social media or by email.